Finally, I have finished The Last of Us Season 2. And I'm ready to talk about it. Let's get into it. So, everybody, if you're here to watch my review, I thank you so much. I thank you for watching my videos, for checking out my shorts. All of this is leading to a bigger thing, basically like a mission of mine to try to help bring some positivity into the world and some enlightening. So please go watch the shorts. Continue to watch this video. I appreciate all those who are watching, who are liking, who are commenting. There will be more stuff in the future, but for now, we're going to talk about The Last of Us Season 2. I'm going to give my thoughts. It's not going to really be a play-by-play. I'm just going to talk about some things from the series. I want to keep this short, sweet, and to the point, but I am going to ramble, or at least kind of give my input on some things a little bit more deeper that I liked about the show, I did not like about the show, and certain things that I did not like from the community on both ends towards the creator, the actors, and the story plots that they chose to go about. So stay towards the end if you want to see my rating. I'll be putting out a short that give you my rating as well. But until then, thank you for watching the video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get on to the video. So Season 2, Last of Us. Let's get to the main question. Did I like it? No, I did not like Season 2. Next question. Did I like Season 1? I did. But it's the reason that I like Season 1 is what also makes me not like Season 2. Whereas Season 1, they did take some liberties to do certain things or add certain things into the story that was not in the main source material. Because yes, this is an adaptation. So they don't necessarily have to go beat for beat like the video games. But in Season 1, what worked is everything that they did that resembled the video game with little sprinkles of their own touch or own reimagining of how that scene went, especially since they did certain dynamics with certain characters that were different from the video game itself. So it still worked out because they kept it close to the game. Where in Season 2, I felt like, all right, I'm going into this because I like Season 1 because they showed so much and connected so much to the first game that they did it well. They did it well. And I felt every beat. I grew to like Pedro Pascal as Joel, even though I didn't see it at first. I was just like, oh, there's a couple of actors I would have chose before him. But he grew on me. Bella Ramsey was always like a wild card for me. Everybody talks about how great she was in Game of Thrones. I seen her in Game of Thrones. She was decent. She's not this glorious great actor to me, but she's decent. And I don't want to ever talk about somebody who has a talent that obviously I don't have, because obviously, like, who am I to critique her? But she does put her talent out there to be seen and to be critiqued. So I will get my input on it. And I will say, I think she's a good actor. I just don't think she's a great actor. And when I first saw it, the casting for Season 1, I didn't like it. Or Pedro Pascal. Let me get that straight. Season 1, it worked because she kept it beat for beat like the character, or at least the writers kept it beat for beat like Ellie. You felt like she was being Ellie despite the fact that she did not look like Ellie. Same thing like Pedro Pascal. He did not look like Joel. He had some inklings that made him look like Joel, but he did not look like Joel. But it worked. And then later on, because of how they acted, because of how the writing was, how the disposition of certain plots and events that happened, you ended up feeling like, man, these guys are really, I feel like I'm watching Joel and Ellie from the game, especially since Bella Ramsey has Ellie's voice down to a T. I think Ellie's voice works with Bella Ramsey's voice so well, especially in Season 1. So we get to Season 2, where we're supposed to be a couple of years from the events that happened in Season 1. And it's like they took the complaints that people had about the second version of the game, Last of Us Part 2, and they used the series to kind of tweak, if not change, certain core elements that came from the game because of the complaints that maybe came with when the game first came out. So for instance, one of the things that everybody did not like from the game was Joel's death. That was something that made an outrage to the community. So for those who didn't play the game, everybody who did play the game, and I love the game. Let me just say that I actually love the game. I got the message. I understood the message, and I love the decisions that they made in the game, despite the fact I was just like you guys. I didn't understand it at first, but it grew on me, especially when I was trying to platinum the game. It gave me a chance to really dive into and hear the story beats over and over again to understand it better. And once I did, great storytelling. I love the story. But when you look at how they adapted it into season 2, I already kind of had inklings that people were already going to have their feelings, especially if they were going to do the scene. Because back when the game came out, nobody liked Joel dying or the way he got killed. And nobody liked Abby, despite the fact that later on in the game, there's a situation where you're forced to see from Abby's perspective. And in the show, it looks like at the very end of the series, you guys understand what they're going to do next, especially for season 3, especially since they said they're going to take 4 seasons to try to break down everything that happened in one game. But there's enough story there. That's what I'm saying. There's enough story there to do that. And with this, there was so much hatred and so much backlash that came from certain decisions that they made in the game that now they're doing it in the series, but they're tweaking it. And those who, I guess, played the game are okay with it now after so many years removed from the game being released. So now it's like those in the gaming community who had a very large outcry towards the things that they hated about the game now love the game. And that just comes with time. Everything works out better in time sometimes. And the more you play a game, the more you really dive into a story, especially in these RPG games, you really get to connect with the characters. And I think that's maybe what changed a lot of people's minds about The Last of Us Part 2, because when they made those changes in the show, I felt like those were changes that they made not only to extend the series, but to kind of like get on the good side of those who hated the second game. And in reality, all it did was just make people who actually loved the second game hate the series, and it made the people who hated the second game hate the series and the second game even more for continuing the trope that they didn't like. So it's been a mess watching this and then listening to the outpour of people and what they had to say about it. But I get it, because there are certain things that I didn't like. For instance, something I like the Battle of Jackson. I love the swarm that came about. I love how Tommy and the people of the town was protecting it from the swarm, and how that went down, and how they even used some video game elements in play. So I really love that. I loved how they did Joel's death. And I know that's a trigger for a lot of people who love Joel the character, but you have to understand, Joel was the main character of season 1, or at least episode 1. Or not episode, but the game 1. Ellie is the core character of this entire thing. From game 1 to game 2, to season 1 to season 2, Ellie is the main character. Point blank, period. So the whole idea is that her character has to be like done well, if not correctly. And so when we get to Joel's death and Bella Ramsey showing that raw emotion that came from seeing Joel die, I felt it. I felt it. And I was like, yes, you did that. And some of the choices that they made to kind of make us connect with Joel and his death worked for me. I like their version of doing it versus the game version. It felt a little bit more personal in the show, which is probably why I liked it better. But after that, I don't know where they were going with this show. I have no idea where they were going with the show. I say this in the most respectful way possible. They wrote Ellie terrible after episode 2. Even there was that quick scene in episode 1 where I'm just like, nah, Ellie still doesn't seem like she's supposed to be like a 19-year-old girl or a 20-year-old girl right now. She still feels like that little girl we were watching in season 1, just more louder and cussing more too. I was just like, I know in the game they cuss a lot, but dang, like every word is like the F word, and I was getting sick and tired of that after a while. But this Ellie just came off too childish, too playful. Like she never took anything seriously. And Ellie always, at least in the second game, came off kind of a little bit more mature. Like, she was more aware of her decisions, aware of herself, despite the fact that she was still trying to understand her life and where does she go on from here, having those feelings of like, I'm incomplete. Like, what am I supposed to do from here? Like, there was supposed to be something that was supposed to happen and it didn't. So what is left of my life? What is my purpose? And you feel that in the second game, and they do a little bit better of that later on in the series. But after episode 2, it's like it just falls off, because here it is. You have this emotional scene where Bella Ramsey is giving off like really good performance, and the kill that happened to Joel. Oh my gosh, man, I felt that. To then be like, all right, I want to go exact revenge. I'm upset. I'm rageful. I'm bloodthirsty. Exactly like how Ellie's supposed to be in the game. And instead of giving us that revenge story plot, like bloodthirsty, I'm going to go kill people, Rambo style Ellie, we get almost like a love story, like a journey that totally derails from the whole reason why they went out there in the first place. And let's not even talk about the fact that they changed it so that Dina was there instead of Tommy. But it made sense in the show because with the town being raided, Tommy being there gave the town a better chance to survive. So it made sense story-wise to have Tommy there. But by putting it with Dina and then just knocking her out with like drugs or something, kind of took away from the fact of like, okay, she's rageful, she's angry, she's basically has all the emotions that Ellie should have, including the guilt. But it's like, that was meant for Tommy. So now, because those roles have switched, Tommy is not so much even revenge driven. He actually accepts it almost as you watch the show, what happened to Joel. And then what makes it even kind of wild is that Dina ends up almost feeling like the Ellie from the game, where Ellie in this one feels like Dina from the game. It feels like Dina should have been the person hunting for Abby by the way that she was going about. She knew how to navigate. She knew how to scout. She knew how to kill even. I mean, like literally they wrote Dina as Ellie and they wrote Ellie as Dina. And it was just weird to watch that dynamic, especially like seeing them going into the town and how they dealt with altercations with wolves and other people. It just kept coming off like, man, Ellie really don't know what she's doing out here. And honestly, I don't think she's trying to understand either. It's just like, and this is supposed to be like I'm gonna go kill Abby type of thing. And it's like, that's far from her focus. You don't even see it. And I see a lot of people blaming Bella Ramsey for it, but it's not Bella's fault. It's more of the writing. But at the same time, like I said in the beginning, I didn't really feel the casting at all. She grew on me. But Bella Ramsey was obviously miscast. And I think a lot of people are trying to protect her. So they're trying to glaze by saying like, no, she's a great actress, da 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 da. Cool. Yeah, she's a good actress. I wouldn't say great, but she's a good actress. But call a spade a spade. She was miscast and it does not work in this series. How she gives up the emotion, how her facial features are towards certain scenes, how her body language even plays. And it's just, also, she does not fit the tone of the character that she's supposed to be portraying. And like I said, that's not so much her, but the writing and the creators of the show. But it's like her putting in her emotions the best way that she can, just doesn't still give off like, I'm this angry woman who's going out there for revenge for somebody killing my dad. It just felt like, oh, I'm on an adventure with my girlfriend and Joel's death is second priority. And that's not, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of them even being out there. So I blame the writers more than I do Bella, but Bella was definitely miscast. Where everybody else, though some people felt like they were perfectly cast, like Jesse, and we'll give even Dina a props, even though she doesn't look like Dina from the game. I give Dina a props. The only thing I don't like about Dina is that Dina felt like Ellie. And that turned me off a lot from the show, because it was just like, if you're gonna take this big of a leap, just let Dina be the Ellie of the show and let her go for revenge. I'd rather that and get mad about that than continue to see Bella just play like this childish little girl when she's supposed to be a 19 to 20-year-old woman who's exacting revenge, and she's laughing and she's joking and she's having all these like cordial moments, you know, like I'm gonna be a dad and all these things like that. And I don't care if it was a joke. It was a terrible joke. A very terrible joke. One that would be memed now for the rest of that girl's career. And what makes it worse is that as we go about like going into season 3, it's just like there's more stronger emotional points and beats that I don't know if they're going to land now because of just her disposition. Even Tommy was changed. And I heard everybody's inkling. Oh yeah, talk about Ellie and how she's miscast and how she's not doing a good job. And everybody want to throw up their arms. But the moment they don't make Tommy John Wick of the Last of Us universe, oh, everybody loses their mind. And that's exactly what happened. Tommy was just as bloodthirsty as Ellie and went off first to go find Abby and them. And he was killing wolves all throughout his path. He was literally John Wick. And the problem is that we never got it. We literally never got it. And the only little pieces of him even going hard like that from the games was in the last episode. And we never got to see it. Let alone, he wasn't even out there to exact revenge. He was out there to find Ellie. So even his reasonings were going out there. Even his reasons for killing all those people were only to protect and find Ellie. And so it didn't work from that perspective because in the game, Tommy's the one who kind of like gives her that battery in the back. Hey, go out there, go like, yeah, we're trying to find Abby. Let's go do this. And there's a certain event that happens later on in the game that they're going to obviously have to do for the show. Maybe they won't. Where Tommy basically puts the battery in Ellie's back to go back out there to go after Abby. How does that work out? How is that going to work out with this version of Tommy? And I'm trying not to spoil too much. I'm so sorry if I did, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to talk about when I played the games and I know what happens for season 3 and supposedly season 4. So I won't try to say too much, but just put it like this. Tommy's character plays a big role in the next parts. And the way this Tommy is, I don't see how you're going to make that flip in his character to have him be able to do all that now, especially when he doesn't seem like he has that as his priority either. And I think that's where the show falls off, where they hit a lot of the good emotional beats and we connect more with these characters. Even Ellie, even though I don't like this version of Ellie, I still connected with her emotionally and understood where she was coming from a lot better than the game brought it out. But at the same time, you end up with like, these characters feel absolutely different. Like all of them do. Joel was more sympathetic when he was a stoic man who just loves his daughter and his daughter only. Ellie was revengeful and would kill anybody who got in her way for going after Joel. But that didn't seem like that. It seemed like Dina was more of a priority when in the game she saw Dina as a burden when she found out the pregnancy situation. Jesse, to me, feels like the only person who actually played like his character. Dina was a good character in the show, but she wasn't that much of a badass. Like Jesse may have to be the only person who, scene for scene, event for event, dialogue for dialogue, played and acted exactly like the character from the game. And so it's just crazy that like everybody who plays a pivotal point in the story just was written differently. And it's like the things that people love about the show, whether you are a gamer or just only a fan of the show, has been the things that resemble the games in the photos and the story and the imagery that comes from the game itself. Those everybody praises and loves. But the thing that keeps getting everybody in the uproar seems to be the dialogue and the scenes and the choices and story that come along with a lot of these characters. And it's just not working. And it did not work. Viewership dropped and everything like that. So it's just like where there was a lot of elements where they took liberties that worked, some of the stuff just didn't work for me. And a lot of beats just felt like they took the characters' actions and gave it to everybody else who they wanted to put a spotlight on. But it was just like, why put a spotlight on them when these characters played a already good enough role? Like, let them do it. You got actors who can play the roles. Let them do their part, and we don't have to take away from anybody else's scenes because we can still add little elements to them. But it's like giving Dina's Ellie's rage and giving Dina's Tommy's kind of like drive to find Joel, and then letting Joel be a little bit more sympathetic than he was in the game, and letting Ellie be way too immature. It was just like, oh man, everybody feels off. But then it's like, the question, do you stick to the adaptation? Do you keep viewing it? And that's kind of what made me at least continue to watch it, was taking my mindset out of, it don't have to be beat for the game. So let me just see what they continue to do creatively. And some of the stuff still didn't work. The one thing that I did like was the Eugene thing, but I just felt like there was a waste of time. I was like, okay, we got the backstory on Eugene. It was heartfelt. It was something that triggered it, but that triggered Ellie's like crash out on Joel to tell the therapist or the doctor, it's like what really happened to her husband. But it was just like Ellie was just embodied with a bunch of emotions. Her seeing Joel lie in front of her so straight face, without any emotion, without any hesitations, what set her off to be like, oh snap, he could do that to her in this serious moment and also lie to me at that moment. He's got to be lying almost about everything. And that's what leads her to feel like, okay, what happened that day with the Fireflies, Joel? Obviously you're lying. So what did you do? And even when she got that disposition and got his story, and he was having that father moment with her, letting her know, like, look, you will only understand when you have your own child, and I hope you be a better parent than I do. And like, those worked. That worked. And yet it still felt off. And that's what I think overall, if I had to say anything, just not to make the video long, the things that work, it worked for the story, but it still felt off. And the things that didn't work, it destroyed anybody's love who loves the game from wanting to watch the show any further. It just feels like they took too many liberties to try to check off a box for some type of agenda-driven plot that didn't need to be there, when they could have just stuck to the source material and then tweaked it, or at least added more things to it to bring out these characters in the way that they tried to do in this series. It just didn't work for me. The only thing I hope for is moving forward. For those who haven't played the game, I won't spoil what happens, or I won't spoil any more stuff that might happen. But just know we're going to get a lot of backstory on Abby. And how they do it is going to be very important to how the ending of everything is supposed to go. So it's just like, I feel like they already ruined Ellie, I think. And is it Bella Ramsey's fault? No, I already felt like she was miscast from the beginning. She should have never been Ellie, but she made it work to the best of her abilities. Some beats were good, some beats weren't. I even liked them showing her as a teenager through the years, when she was 16 all the way to 19, even the little birthday cake scene, and her getting her guitar from Joel and all that type of stuff, her getting her tattoo and all these like those words. She did great, but she's still miscast because the feels just don't really connect, at least for me. And it seems like with a lot of people either, but just for me, it just really didn't connect. And they can change that with just writing. All you got to do is correct the writing, and everything would be 10 times better. So I hope they do that for her. But like I said, seeing how it left off, there's going to be a change in how the story gets told that I hope fans at least accept, so we can see just how much more they're going to either change, tweak, or stick true to when it comes to the source material to play off in a finale that is as fulfilling as the game's finale. Because this part really tells it, like, there's no need for a season 4 if you can't do season 3 right. And you're going to need to do season 3 right to get people to have that same mindset and disposition as they did when they were playing the game. So overall, I just felt like there was a lot of stuff going on. I could talk about this for hours. I wanted to do a live, but I just felt like if I did a live, I'd definitely be on here all day. But maybe I'll do that. You know, I don't know how many people really like my reviews, but like I said, I like you guys. I want to connect with you guys. Watching these things, having these conversations with you guys mean a lot to me. And I just want to share my point of view and how I feel about things with the world, because I know there's other people who view things and think about things the same way I do. From my shorts to my videos, everybody, I just want to thank you for that. And I really, truly do appreciate it. So if you do like this video, please comment, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Watch this a couple of times after you've seen this if you've never seen it. My ratings for this, because it's weird, I like a lot of stuff and then I hate a lot of stuff. There's no middle. It's just either I like it or I hate it. And I hated a lot more stuff than I like. So I'm going to have to go with, honestly, I'm going to have to give it a 2 out of 5. And I'm going to have to give this, I'm going to have to rate this, I'm going to have to give this a bronze. I really did not like it. It's getting a bronze rating. It's rated bronze. It's a 2 out of 5. It's a D. It's a D. And I'll say a D plus, just because, like I said, there's certain things that I did like, but I just can't get over the stuff that I didn't. It just doesn't work for me. So overall, I hope you guys like it. If you like my rating, comment down below. Tell me what you liked about the show. And if you didn't like my rating and you think it should have been rated higher, also put that down. Let's talk about it. Maybe you could change my mind going into season 3. And let me know, are you guys going to watch season 3? That's something to think about too. Like, are we really going to give the show any more opportunities? Or are we going to allow HBO Max to do what they always do? And that's when the show gets pretty much deep into it, they cancel it. Yeah, I'm looking at you for Lovecraft Country. Yeah. Should have got a season 2. Didn't get it. HBO Max. So outside of that, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. This is my channel. I am him. He is me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be having more reviews for you. K-pop, all that below. And thank you once again. Once again, just thank you everybody who's subscribed, everybody who's watching. And let's grow together. Let's connect together. Let's smile hard and dominate everything in this world so we can enjoy and reap the benefits of everything that life gives us. Take care.